Well, one game left in the preseason. I like the progress we made from St. Mary's to Kennesaw, even though it was a one-day prep. And so much of the game is mental, so that was a hard loss against St. Mary's in Phoenix. We bounced back. We went really hard at practice the next day, cleaned up some things, and as much as you learn from winning, you learn a lot more from losing, unfortunately. So sometimes the lessons are harsher. So I thought our response was good against Kennesaw. We came out, and we wanted to see a better defensive effort. I think we did. Offensively, they're a smaller opponent. So, remains to be seen when we play bigger teams again, if we're able to take advantage of plays that we draw up and things we try to do. But it was a step forward. Someone told me we played the 9th toughest schedule in the country so far, and sitting at 8-3, you want to be undefeated. But here we sit 8-3 with a week to get ready for UCSD, try to improve our team and move forward into the Mountain West. So we're happy where we're at. Obviously, there's higher levels to climb to, and hopefully we will do that.
Brian, what did you learn the most in reflection on Maui? The good stretches and the tough stretches and the gritty stretches and the lousy stretches?
Yeah, I mean, we beat a really good Ohio State in the opener. And then Arizona got ahead of us. I liked our grit in Maui, how we fought back, tied the game, took a lead in the second half early. They're a very good team, and then they extended out on us. And then there was the frustration of the Arkansas game. 4-point lead with 17 seconds to go, and fouled when we shouldn't have, and gave them a chance to win the game, which they took advantage of. But I felt as if we could have and maybe should have won that game. We didn't. And then we avoided the Maui hangover, and it wasn't easy. We had a buzzer beater against Irvine. Maui's a great thing, but it takes a lot out of your team. And people say, how can that be? You're young, and you play 3 really good teams in 72 hours. You travel, and we have the shortest travel of anybody that goes there. But still, it's hard. And so we kind of overcame that getting back from Maui and played well enough to win. And then we had a resume game against St. Mary's, and we've had it for 3 straight years. And credit to them, they found a way to beat us down the stretch. And we were competitive in the game, and even though we won a year ago, people find this hard to believe, we played better this year than we did a year ago. But we didn't get the win. So the performance of the team was not bad. It's just the outcome wasn't what we wanted. So we've learned a lot of lessons through our schedule, and now we have a week to get ourselves better. We've been craving this week. You can't get better unless you practice, and all we're doing is preparing for the other team. We have one day to get ready. Can't wear legs out, on the practice floor. You want to do enough to prepare, but now we have time where we can give them a couple days off, get back at it, and improve our team, and that's what the goal is right now.
Now, you said you're going to watch some film first to evaluate what you need to look at, but just off the top of your head, what are your top 3, 4 to-do things on the to-do list?
I think to get the new guys better defensively and to get the old guys playing up to our standard, Darion and Micah and Jaden, even though he's been in the program, he hasn't been in game minutes. All the new guys, the freshmen, they have to play at a higher level defensively. So when we run into games like St. Mary's where scoring is an issue, we can win with our defense. And we didn't do that. We didn't win with our defense against St. Mary's. And so we have to get the new guys better defensively, offensively. To me, I have to find ways to get Matt Bradley in dangerous positions because he's such a good passer, and he always draws defensive attention. He's probably as good a playmaker as we have. So I have to find a way to put him in more dangerous offensive positions where they're concentrated on him, and then he finds open shooters. He's a guy capable of getting guys 3-point shots and finding the rolling post. So I have to find ways to put Matt in more dangerous situations. And I think the last thing offensively is try to free Jaden Ledee up a little bit. He was better. St. Mary's had 8 rebounds. Last night, I think he was close to a double-double if he didn't have a double-double. He played better, and so I've got to try to free him up as he gets used to playing again after sitting a year.
Micah Parrish becoming an instant points guy?
Yeah, Mike and Adam can really shoot the ball, so I thought Micah should have had more. I mean, he had some clean looks that I wish would have gone in. They didn't, but he's a dangerous shooter and a dangerous player, and he's getting better, and that's what I like about Micah. He's nowhere near as good as he's going to be, but he gets better every day.
The big college basketball news yesterday obviously was about Chris Baird, and his replacement for the time being is Rodney Terry. I think a lot of the country doesn't know much about him. You obviously know tons about him, having coached against him. For the people who don't know anything about him, what kind of coach is he, and how good of a coach can he be at this level?
Yeah, Rodney's a really good coach. I mean, having coached against him in Fresno, he's a darn good coach. His teams were always prepared. They always had a good game plan, both defensively and offensively, and he got the most out of his talent. So I know this is not the circumstance anybody wanted, but Rodney is more than capable of stepping up and leading Texas basketball.
You've seen him with less talented teams. I mean, can you imagine what he might be able to do with a team of that kind? I mean, they were number one in the country.
Yeah.
last week.
I mean, it's not just X's and O's. It's holding it together. They've had a disruption to their program. You know, Chris Beard is dealing with some issues now, and Rodney has a lot of experience. He's coached at Texas, an assistant. He's been a head coach, and I think he will do as good a job as can be expected leading a program in such tough conditions.
As a veteran coach, the old phrase, coach them really hard. How do you define that, and how do you do it without wearing the kids out?
Yeah, you just have to be consistently. You can't be the happy coach when you're winning and super depressed and mad when you're losing. You have to try to keep a even keel about you, and so every day is just another work day. And so maybe your tone changes to a degree or two, but you have to be consistent. And I think I've got coaches. Some of them coach harder. Some of them coach with an arm around them. And I have a really good coaching staff that I kind of oversee, and I let them be themselves, and they do a good job working with this team and getting them ready to play.
Do you find young players learn from a, quote, teachable moment?
Yeah, if they're about the right things, you know, I just tell them you have to hold yourself accountable, and I tell them I think I'm good at that. I hold myself accountable, so you're accountable for yourself first and foremost. So part of being accountable is learning from your mistakes, not only as a head coach but as a player, and hold yourself accountable. If you do that, we'll get better.
Dutch, what's the key to being, ready to go and off the bench? Micah coming off the bench yesterday, like Adam's always been great. He comes off the bench, he's ready to shoot. Like, what's the mentality it takes for a player to step into a game and not have to take a minute or two to get going?
Yeah, well, I try to equate it to what's waiting for them in their future if they're really lucky. I said, Micah, if you're good enough to play in the NBA, guess what? You're probably not going to start. And you're going to have to come off the bench and make your first shot. And if you don't make your first shot, they'll find someone else that can. So I know you don't want to come off the bench. Adam doesn't want to come off the bench. But when you do, there's value to that. So be the best you can be off the bench, because if you play at the next level and come off the bench, they're expecting you to perform as soon as you get in. So use that as a motivating factor. So I just try to not make light that I know they want to start, but to spin it where they're feeling like what they do is important, and it is.
And then you drew something up, or you kind of gave him a head nod last night. I want to say it came in like 3 minutes in. You kind of point him into the corner, with one pass to the corner, and he had a wide open look.
Yeah, we ran an out of bounds play, and we threw to the corner 3 times in a row and missed 3 corner jump shots. And I was like, well, that's not working very well. Micah missed one, Elijah missed one, and I don't know, someone else might have missed one. But we just slid to the corner wide open, and we couldn't get it to go in. So coaching's one thing. You got to make the shot, and then I'm a good coach.
The art of teaching threes at the college level, is it mechanics? Is it distance? Is it the speed you got to take the shot? Is it open looks? Is it defense? How do you teach your kids to make the right decision to launch a three?
Obviously, it's mechanics and repetition. I mean, you got to get in the gym. You have to have a sound stroke in order to make it. But at the end of the day, it's confidence. If you have a good jump shot and it's not going in, that can affect your confidence. And confidence is everything. So I don't try to micromanage shots. Sometimes a guy will be wide open. If he doesn't want to take it and I make him take it, he doesn't think it's going in before he even shoots it. So that's why sometimes you look up and Keshad's shooting a 3 and his percentage is low. Well, if he thinks it's going in, I don't think he's going to go out there and miss 7 of them, but I don't mind him taking the first one. And if it goes in, then maybe he might make 2. But I think Keshad realizes if he misses 1, then the second time he gets it, he's going to try to drive it. So sometimes you have to trust your players. You know, if they suffer with confidence, I don't want them throwing it up there. If they believe it's going in, then I'm good with them taking it.
A couple weeks ago, Wyoming coach Jeff Linder was pretty critical of their home crowd for not showing up. They were struggling a little bit. You don't seem to have that problem. Do you just have to pinch yourself and never take it for granted how good your crowd is sometimes?
It's unbelievable. They show up every game. They're enthusiastic. They're supportive. They don't get down on us in hard moments. They get behind us. And so this is as good a crowd as you're going to find in the country. And we have it right here in San Diego and right at San Diego State. So we're very fortunate. We don't take it for granted. We want to play hard for them. I think they appreciate it more than anything. If they feel you're playing hard, they'll accept mistakes. And so if we're on the floor, we're playing as hard as we can play, then our fans will always support us.
Brian, when you look at the horizon of what's going on in the Mountain West, what do you think?
Unbelievable that we still have 3 undefeated teams. UNLV, I think Utah State's still undefeated, New Mexico, all playing really good basketball. You know, you look at, I think bracketology came out again, and it's just fun. I mean, it's 8, 9, 10 games in the season, they had 4 Mountain West teams in. That's what we had last year. So I think what that does more than anything, Lee, is now when we get to conference, we have resume games in the conference. The more good teams we have, there are no bad losses out there. You know, if you can pick off an undefeated team, then it's going to build your resume. So the conference has done a good job winning enough games where we're 7, 8, 9 teams deep in this conference right now. And if that stays that way, then there won't be a lot of bad losses out there to have. There'll be only good wins.
In this stretch you have coming up where you don't have a ton of games, you can work on yourself and you can take some time off. How do you guard against the opposite effect of being rusty?
I don't think we'll be rusty. I think they celebrated 2 days off more than they did winning last night. When I told them they had 2 days off, they were very happy about that. And they should be. They have academics to take care of. We're starting finals. They've got papers due, so they got more responsibilities than just basketball. And this is a time where they can concentrate on getting their schoolwork finished up for the semester, rest their legs, and then come back refreshed. And I always know you would think the practice the day after you have a day off would be good, and it's rarely good. So we have to find a way after 2 days off to have a really good practice. And I have a coaching staff that'll make sure that happens.
And Brian, now you've got experience with the transfer portal, and Brady's been critical of it even though he needs to use it. Is it as chaotic in basketball as it is in football, or is it just chaos across the entire board?
I mean, there's just bigger numbers in football, obviously. They have bigger rosters. There are more guys in there, more positions to fill. You know, you've got how many positions in football, and you've got 11 offense, 11 defensive positions, and you're looking at the whole portal. That's just a lot of work for those guys. Basketball, you know, you've got guards, you got forwards, and you got a center. And so you can get through it a lot quicker with who's in there and who you think is good enough.